Hello, everybody. Welcome to Irongeek cast number 144, Tone Policing.
Welcome to the cast. And how are you doing, Darren?
Oh, not too bad. How about you, Trev?
Not too bad, not too bad. Adrian, how you doing?
Fine. Just ordering some new lock picking stuff or lock bypass stuff online and some replacement parts and found out some of my video gear is fucked up this last weekend. One of my cameras is no longer functioning and a power supply was busted for one of my uh, HDMI splitters. But I found out it's 5 volts and there's a little cable I should be able to hook up to it to make it be USB powered if necessary, which opens my options.
Yeah, you could just power it off a power bank or something. That'd be kind of cool.
I don't know for how long, but yeah. But it opens up options, and not to mention they make a lot nicer foldable USB power supplies. There's these little ones that look like a little square. It's fairly small. They have 2 USB ports, and so would have been reliable. But they look like there's something that might be more rugged when I pack them away.
Yeah. They probably don't have a very high capacity if they're that small.
Looking at how chintzy the one it came with was, I don't think it needs a high capacity.
Cool.
The old one, it was a chintzy piece of plastic, and I actually busted the prongs on it because apparently they got jammed hard enough into the plastic where it broke through. With some a soldering gun and some hot glue, I could probably fix it, but I don't know if that's quite worth it.
That could be a fun weekend project if you don't have anything else going on. All right, so we got a great cast for you guys today. Got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. As far as announcements go, Adrian is done with concert this year.
As far as I know, unless someone has a spot one come up. Luckily, when I couldn't work, I get 24 hours of PTO per month. So that usually covers most conferences because usually the most I have to take, well, depends on the conference. But sometimes I might have to take a Tuesday and a Friday off. But luckily, most of these cons are on the weekends, hopefully.
Cool.
Hey, homie, where do you work? Because that sounds pretty good to me. I could use 24 hours of PTO a month.
People don't need to know yet.
It's a secret to everyone.
What's up, everybody? Happy wonderful Wednesday. Yep.
Is that Charles?
Yeah.
That's Charles. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Now that you're here, I mean, that positivity, it just spreads.
Oh, well, I enjoy spreading it. Now, today was a pretty good day, you know.
What'd you do? Anything fun?
Well, you know, I learned something new about the Rust programming language. So I got to geek out with that a little bit.
You better use it, otherwise you're gonna get rusty.
Yeah. Look at that. But what I'm actually trying to do is, like I said, for more like red team engagements, spend more time with like Rust, and I'm completely moving away from PowerShell because it doesn't do any good during the red team engagement because of the fact that, I mean, EDRs are hip to it and they're catching it, you know, and blocking your payloads. C# is still a great option, but eventually that's going to catch up too. So I figure, you know what, why don't I just jump 2 steps ahead a little bit and start programming in Rust. So I'm actually using the raw Win API. So I'm learning a lot about the Windows API by doing it.
Yeah, even AMSI was catching some .NET stuff I was trying to do, and It wasn't super malicious. It was just doing a regular reverse shell without just forwarding a command prompt.
So, right, you know. Yeah. So I want to be able to, do some Kerber roasting, but Kerber rusting.
What? I get it.
Reversing everything, rusty cats instead of Mimi cats.
You know, that could be a whole framework you could develop. That'd be awesome.
That's the goal. So I'm having some fun doing it. I'm looking at Harmjoy's code, like with PowerShell and everything else, and seeing how the commands are run and looking at the documentation, but I could find a bit of the Windows API. So that's been pretty much most of the day. On top of that, red team engagement that I'm working on now, which having some fun, learning as usual, learning something new, and yeah, life couldn't be better, man. I don't have no complaints.
Nice. I like your stuffed animals you got there on the left over by your OSCP.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, these are my babies, my Cupheads and my Mega Mans, and of course, Beastie.
Cool. Well, it makes sense with your username. I mean,
Yeah, I'm trying to find a puppy. I had a puppy years ago, but I think somebody stole it from my desk when I was working at Northrop Grumman. So whoever was working with me at the time, and you're watching this video, I know you got it.
somebody's laughing right now.
I know they are.
Evil laugh, like.
Mhm. Probably petting Puffy while they're doing it too. That's okay. I'm gonna get another one. Nobody's gonna get to it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So on to the breach report.
Rock on.
We got some fun stuff on here.
Woo!
Macy's, not only did they get hit with a mage cart style attack, which I'm gonna actually try and put on the screen here if I can figure out how the hell to do that, because I don't usually do that. So just one sec.
3 dots in the bottom. Share my screen, or
There's an icon in the bottom left-hand corner, I'm assuming you're using a normal browser.
Yeah. Share my screen. 1 second. I don't see it. Share a YouTube video.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, it's the bottom left. It's the that little monitor icon. Excuse me.
Oh, I see it. Select.
Oh, I see it. The Macy's online store compromise.
Yeah. Allow. It will not let me fucking do this in Firefox for some reason.
Try Chrome.
Yeah.
Killer Chrome. And I'm waiting to call it Killer Chrome.
I don't trust Google with my data.
Right. And it's a good reason you don't either.
Hey, could you mind bringing the link up in your browser?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying out right now. Bringing up Killer Chrome. Let's see. Oh, it's not even. Oh, here we go. Okay, there we go. So, let's see. Let me see if I can just share my screen real quick. If it'll let me. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Share my screen. Sorry, I get super amped. Yes. Okay, and later.
Yeah, for some reason I can't hit the allow button.
Okay,
It's
here we
like,
go.
will you allow Jitsi to share your screen? Nope.
Okay, do you see my screen now?
I do. Excellent.
Maybe.
All right. So, MageCart was an attack that was a JavaScript attack back in the day, not so long ago, and this attack is very similar to that. The guy was able to gain access to the site, inject some persistent JavaScript that essentially records the credit cards and the user information, everything that's in that form when you're going to make a purchase, and then store it on his own server. So, not the best news for Macy's right now, because it's that time of the year when they're putting out annual reports and stuff, and something on the other article that I linked said that Kohl's I don't know what the hell did it say. It said something about Kohl's putting off its annual report because Macy's just dropped like 10% in their share price.
So about the stock market.
Stock market. Yeah, I'm not a stock person, but like.
Me neither. But just goes to show you, like based on, and I'm bringing up the stock. The stock was dragged down by 10% because of this data breach. But this just goes to show you. This goes back to that good old cross-site scripting and why cross-site scripting vulnerabilities are important.
Right. And oftentimes at book bounties, they won't give you money for that. They don't like cross-site scripting. They're like, oh, it's bullshit. But if it's persistent and it's stored, you mean you're doing well as a hacker if you can get some stuff like that on a Macy's site.
Yes. And again, it's just because especially with a lot of assessments, they were like, well, that's just cross-site scripting. It didn't do anything, did it? And that's why I said to all the web app hackers out there that are actually doing penetration tests from a web app perspective, make sure if you find a cross-site scripting vulnerability, make it hurt. Meaning
you can sometimes combine it with SQL injection that you wouldn't normally be able to do.
SQL injection or beef. I would rather like if you find cross-site scripting somewhere, use B to make it more of a proof of concept in a way.
Yeah, the browser exploitation framework is pretty cool. I've messed around with it. Never used it on like a professional assessment, but I've played with it in my lab.
I didn't start using it on a professional assessment until I watched off of course, Irongeek.com, web application hacking. I think it's by Brent White, I believe. And he was just saying when you find cross-site scripting vulnerabilities, make it worth their while. Fire up Beef and do some browser hooking, or as you said, SQL injection. Make it believable. Make it more realistic to where they will pay attention. And I think this is a perfect example of why we need to pay attention to those types of attacks.
Yeah, they're not taken seriously, and I mean, they don't realize you can combine them with other stuff and do real damage.
Yeah.
Next in the show notes, Phineas Fisher makes a comeback. Remember this guy? He's the guy who hacked that Finn Fisher spyware toolkit a few years ago.
Yeah.
Released it to the public with the source code and did a whole bunch of stuff with like spy agencies, like those kind of places that make shady programs that you can like track your spouse and things like that. Yeah, he's back in the news. He's done two things recently. The first thing is he's offering a very large bounty for hacks against banks and oil companies. He's willing to pay it in Bitcoin. And that's pretty neat in and of itself. Because normally when you see a bug bounty, you don't expect it to be against like legit people, like not legit people. That's the wrong way to say it. You don't expect it to be any hacker. Please hack a bank or an oil company, and I'll pay you for it. It's usually a legitimate company saying, "Hey, I want somebody to test my stuff." It's
pretty much.
It's interesting. And the other thing he did, he published 2 terabytes of data from the Cayman National Bank, which that's a lot of freaking data. I mean, I've seen leaks and dumps and all sorts of stuff, but very rarely do you see an entire 2 terabytes of data to be consumed at your leisure. Included like everything that was in everybody's email and all the accounts and their balances and all that fun information. So yeah, he's back in the news.
I have a question. Are we live?
Yes, we should be.
Okay, because I'm looking for the YouTube channel. I'm not seeing it.
Spaghetti-o.
I put a link on my Twitter that should go straight to it.
Let me see. I just wanted to be sure because I'm like, okay, I know
We're just talking to ourselves for fun. It's
no,
all
that's
good.
okay. That's okay, but
Where's Irongeek?
I'm here.
No, I meant on Twitter. I'm trying to find you.
Irongeek_ADC.
That makes
he's
more
the
sense.
only Iron Geek in the world.
I see the video listed on the video list here. It says live now, so looks like it's going.
Oh,
I do not see your tweet about. Oh, it's a pinned tweet.
It's not a pinned tweet.
Nope, there it is. Tone policing, show notes, and
my apologies.
Oh,
I just wanted to be sure.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
We're good. We're streaming live.
Cool. So, yeah, like I was saying, that's awesome that he's offering that amount of money for a bounty because most bounties are like 3,000. The kudos points. I mean, it varies. Depends on what company and how generous they feel. Here's the thing about bug bounties that I'll never really understand is just that, how can they just get out of not paying the researchers? Or, try to find loopholes. Shouldn't it be some type of contract or something in place that, uphold their commitment if a bug is...
I mean, there are professional bug bounties, but this, like, companies that will offer a number of places that you can hack, and I forget which, what the board was, but There's
Like-
a professional. Yeah, go ahead. You probably know the name of it.
No, I was about to say like for like HackerOne or
Yeah, HackerOne. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
You go in and it's got like a bulletin board. It's like this company is offering a bug bounty if somebody can hack their web server.
Right.
You know, and it says how much it is depending on what you're able to find.
Right.
It's all laid out, and
So I've heard. The only reason I asked that because I've heard stories where some researchers have found bugs, but then they're not paid.
not only that, but sometimes they try and litigate.
Yeah, which is not cool.
Or the researcher essentially says, I know about this bug, and they're like, yeah, we're going to fix it. And then like 3 months go by and they don't fix it, and they don't pay the researcher. And then the researchers had enough and they publicly release the exploit of whatever is on their website.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's just crazy. But it's what happens, man. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
You ever participated in any bug bounties?
Every time I try, I haven't really either. I'm signed up for some. That's definitely, I would say, on my 2020 bucket list. I have a lot of stuff bucket list wise. Definitely that. And I'm gonna be doing more speaking at the next con. So I'm working on a talk as we speak now to just submit to different cons and see what happens. You know, definitely, like I said, the goal, get out there more, and you know, like I said, as usual, continue to have fun with this stuff. So, yeah.
Well, it's good to have fun.
Of course.
If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Nope, and I feel like I haven't worked since 2003.
Excellent. All right, next we have a breach affecting 1 million was caught only after the hacker maxed out the target's storage at InfoTrack Systems.
Interesting.
Yeah, he'd been in there for years.
Wow.
I only caught him when he was zipping something up and it filled up the disk.
Oopsie.
Whoopsie is right. There we go. Here we go. Click.
Yeah. So Utah-based InfoTrax was first breached in May of 2014 when a hacker exploited vulnerabilities in the company's network that gave remote control over the server. FTC lawyers alleged in a complaint. According to the complaint, the hacker used the control to access systems undetected 17 times over the next 21 months. And then on March of 2016, the intruder accessed personal information about 1 million customers. The data included full names, social security numbers, physical addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, usernames, passwords for accounts on the InfoTrax service. So that's some decent data right there. He accessed the site again later that day, stealing another 4,100 usernames, passwords stored in clear text. Remember, always salt and hash your usernames and passwords. Well, your passwords at least, not the usernames. Salt and hash them. Yes. Hundreds of names, addresses, yada yada yada. So, the long and short of it is they didn't do their due diligence either when they realized this happened. They didn't tell people right away. InfoTrax's failure to provide reasonable security for the personal information of distributors and end customers has caused or is likely to cause substantial injury to customers in the form of fraud, identity theft, monetary loss, and time spent remediating the problem. So, just another data breach.
For another day.
What was that?
Oh,
Like a UFO taking off.
No, that's my so I have sounds of like Mega Man for my phone, so I just got an email. That's for that. Yeah.
You're just an 8-bit guy right there.
Oh yeah. I'm Mr. Retro. I'm retroed out all day, every day. Boom.
You got a RetroPie?
Yes, I do.
Love those things.
With the Commodore 64 games, and I also put some Neo Geo. I also put TurboGrafx 16 as well too.
There's some cool Sega CD games you can get also, which are a bit larger if you need a bigger SD card.
Oh yeah,
like 700 meg. But
I have a 128 gig card in that thing.
Sewer Shark and Night Trap are amazing games to play if you want to play those on your Sega CD emulator.
And plus, I'm a lover of like collecting like old like systems. So I have a physical Super Famicom as well.
Girl I used to date kid was obsessed with old video game systems, and he has like every single system and multiples of some systems in different variations.
Yes, I'm like that's one thing for like I think Japan is video game heaven, and I would love to get there someday and just check out all their cool games. I think I would just spend time just playing the different games that I probably didn't get to see in the US. Simple enough.
Right. So next we have the password data for 2.2 million users of currency and gaming sites dumped online. Yeah, this is a good one. So password data and other personal information belonging to 2.2 million users of two websites, one a cryptocurrency wallet service and the other a gaming bot provider, have been posted online, according to Troy Hunt. What are we going to do when he retires? He's already trying to sell his website, you know? What are we going to do? Anyway.
Something new will come up.
I'm sure somebody will take over, but Troy does a good job.
He does a good job.
So, one haul included the personal information of 1.4 million accounts on the GateHub cryptocurrency wallet service. The other contains data of 800,000 accounts on RuneScape bot provider EpicBot. The database includes email addresses and passwords that were cryptographically hashed with bcrypt, so that will take about 5 minutes to crack. And a function that's among the hardest to crack. Really? Bcrypt? Maybe I'm confusing this with something else. I didn't think bcrypt was that hard to crack. The person posting the 3.72 gigabyte GateHub database, that's bigger than the other one. We had some big data breaches lately.
Yeah.
Said it included two-factor authentication keys, mnemonic phrases, wallet hashes. Although GateHub officials say an investigation suggests wallet hashes were not accessed. The EpicBot database, meanwhile, purportedly includes usernames and IP addresses. So, all fun data. You know, I've been able to do some fun stuff with those, some of those websites where they will let you search for somebody's username and password, and you give them a little bit of money in cryptocurrency, and they'll let you see the actual password. And, you know, there are a couple of out there. I'm not going to say the names of them because that drives traffic to them. But I was just searching by somebody's email address once, and then I found their IP address. So I decided to search by IP address, and I was able to find a whole bunch of other stuff on other names that they were using, their pseudonyms for others on other services, which I thought was pretty cool, based on their IP. So.
Yeah. But I like I said, it's just so much out there. Like it's just like okay, I don't know. It just makes you wonder sometimes.
A lot of good data out there.
Yeah.
And the more it gets indexed and the more people are able to manipulate this data, the more interesting it's going to be. Which actually brings me to the next attack I want to talk about, which is Disney Plus, right? So Disney Plus was not hacked, all right? I got to say that because the news, CNN and Fox News, they're getting it wrong. They're acting as if the site was breached and user information was stolen. That did not happen. what's happening is a credential stuffing attack where somebody's got a list of usernames and passwords leaked from other breaches, and they're just trying them against Disney Plus. And if it sticks, they have a script that changes the email address and changes all that information so that the account becomes theirs. And some people paid for like a year in advance because they were doing that, and then they can't log into their account, and they go to check. They hit the password reset button, and it says that the password that there's no account with that name, and they're screwed because they didn't do anything wrong. It's not like this. They could have limited the amount of tries that somebody can go with a username and password, which they should have done. Maybe that's something they did wrong, but they didn't like have any code flaws that caused somebody to be able to access personal data, which I think is a big deal because the way the news reports it sometimes makes it seem like a service has been horribly hacked when in reality it's something like this. It's just credential stuffing.
Now, did they attack multiple systems on the internet? I mean, I would imagine it was like one person from one IP address trying all these different things that would cause an anomaly.
The articles actually didn't really go that into depth on the logistics of the hack. They just kind of talked about what happened, but without giving us a lot of the interesting data that we're looking for. Because it's on the Washington Post, it's and finance.yahoo.com. It's not like we're reading it on Troy Hunt's website or, something like that.
Also too, speaking of, I just want to talk about real quick this cool battery pack. I don't know if you ever heard of the Sherpa from Goal Zero. Yeah, Sherpa. I would definitely recommend anyone getting a Sherpa, especially if you travel a lot. I mean, these batteries are awesome.
Yeah, I had one of those.
And what's cool about it? Oh, you did? Oh, you had the AC? Oh my goodness, everything freezing up on me. Okay, yeah. So you had the AC then?
I
have a much smaller battery pack than that. That doesn't have an AC outlet though.
Yeah, so it looks like this. And the cool part is you can keep your cables and stuff on the side here. So if you can store your cables on the side, they come out.
That one's a little bit too big.
So that's the cool. What's that?
That one's a little bit too big for me to pocket.
No, but I mean it's great for like backpacks, and the cool part is it's airline. It's how can I say this? It's supported by the airline. Like you can actually carry this on. It's certified by airlines, by TSA. So you can actually carry this on the airplane without, having any issues. So I mean, it's great for like charging your phone. It also supports wireless charging as well too. So you could just drop your phone on the top. It has a button for wireless charging. So if your phones, which most phones nowadays have the wireless charging, you can just it's a button for wireless charging. Just drop the phone on top, and there you go.
Yeah, I think the last few generations of phones have had wireless charging on it. My problem is with my Pixel 3 XL, the case I got it in. If I have the case on, it doesn't charge. I think maybe the case though, maybe the magnetic plate I have on the back of it, so I can mount it in my car. That might be what's actually.
Yeah, that's it. Because I have a Pixel 3 with a case, and it wireless charges just fine. Like I'm doing it right now, actually.
Yeah. So now my phone is actually charging. And what's cool about it, it'll show you the time that it empties, and you can also like look through the different menus and see what wattage is using from what specific port. Like the two USB-C ports right here, they use 65 watts. These are USB 3.0s, which also use 65. Now you got your AC as well. So if you have one of those laptops like the old style MacBook Pros or whatever, you can just plug this in. Now this does use 100 watts. However, it does suck the battery dry. I'm just going to tell you like really quickly. But it does like fast charging for your laptop. So if you just want to like get like one good charge for your laptop as you're running down, this would be the battery to do it with. Again, now if you're just charging like say your phone As for me, my watch or whatever, and earbuds, then of course this is an awesome solution. I think it takes like it knocks the battery down to like 4 hours until it's empty. So of course your phone's not going to take 4 hours because it does fast charging. Now they have a smaller version of this, which only it does faster wireless charging. But I mean, this is a pretty good device, man. I'm actually happy with this device.
Today's Iron
Yeah,
Geek podcast brought to you by Sherpa.
I got this little. It's the
Yeah.
one I've got. You have to charge it via a port as well. Oh, it's not even bringing me up, is it? Oh, I don't know.
Now it is, right?
Oh, okay. I got
There you
this
go.
little one. It says power bank on it. Express E1.
The
Two
beard is gone.
25,000 milliamp hours. You charge it up via either micro USB or USB-C. Has
Uh-huh.
ports on it. And it lasts a long ass time. And it also has wireless charging built in. But I keep forgetting to bring it with me when I go to conferences.
Yeah, I mean it's sweet, you know, like it's just so convenient. That's the goal. It's all about that convenience, man. So I'm you know, like I said, if you have a chance to grab one, definitely grab one. And no, I don't work for Sherpa. I just like again, I just like their stuff.
All right, the spicy food's kicking in. I'll be right back down. You all continue.
Sure.
Oh, we keep continuing at this rate, we're going to be out of stuff to talk about soon.
What?
All right.
Never that. I'm never out of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
All right, the next one to talk about is the Pay My Tab data leak exposes personal information belonging to mobile diners.
Mm,
I actually never heard of this service before they got breached.
me neither.
So, sensitive personal information, it's another AWS bucket. Those always, those are fun nowadays. Personal and sensitive information belonging to Pay My Tab customers has been exposed due to an open AWS bucket. On Tuesday, VPN Mentor cybersecurity researchers led by Noam Rotem and Ran Lokar disclosed a data breach. God, I can't talk today, man. Disclosed a data leak in sensitive, personally identifiable information and partial financial details that were made available online. The team was tipped off to the existence of an unsecured AWS bucket in which PayMyTab failed to follow Amazon's security protocols and required authentication to access. The anonymous individual that notified VPN Mentor did so in order to raise awareness of the security breach and encourage other mobile payment vendors to consider security and data protection more seriously. So they weren't just being a dick. Well, maybe they were. PayMyTab works with restaurants to provide mobile and card terminals in which also pull out customer data for the purposes of CRM and service improvement. So they're scraping a little bit more data than just your credit card info, your regular credit card info, it looks like.
Much.
However, this information was leaked, including customer names, email addresses, phone numbers, order details, restaurant visit information, such as when and where, as well as the last 4 digits of the customer payment card numbers. So at least it wasn't the full payment card number. That would suck. According to research, yeah. I mean, if they leaked the actual payment credit card numbers, that would be like a big deal. This would probably be all over the news with how many people they've serviced. But because it's just the last 4, we're not really hearing about it.
No.
VPN Mentor operates a web mapping project in which the discovery of open and unsecured databases are a common occurrence. The cybersecurity researchers have previously encountered and disclosed database breaches, leaking the private information of millions of Ecuadorian citizens, millions of user accounts belong to adult websites, security logs of major hotel chains, information belonging to U.S. government and military officials, and confidential emails sent between manufacturers and enterprise clients. So fun stuff. Somebody's got to build their own bucket what would you call it? A bucket scraper? No. What's it doing exactly? It's looking for anonymous open buckets. So it's got to be like
Breaking somehow.
a war
Breaking.
dialer, for AWS buckets.
Yeah. Take it back to the days of Kermit, the war dialer.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Those days.
I remember one month my parents got a phone bill for like $800 in the early '90s. They were gonna kill me.
I'm surprised. It's a good thing you're still able to live to tell it today. Yeah, $800 bill. I probably wouldn't have made. I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you guys today.
I was testing out a war dialer.
Yeah, I know what my parents would say. I'll war dial you.
Yeah, I wasn't a phone freak, so I didn't know how to do that other stuff to get free phone calls. So I didn't realize it'd be so much.
You know what's funny? I miss the freakers. I do. I miss those guys. I know they're voice over IP engineers now or something else, but I miss the old freakers. I know they're still out there.
Yeah, they go to a 2600 meeting. You'll meet some.
Yeah, definitely. And I know one thing. You know what shirt I'm looking for? And I just thought about it. Speaking of freakers, I want the shirt that the freak had on in Hackers movie with the kitten and the rose.
Ah, I got a blue box shirt somewhere with the schematics for a blue box.
That might be the next thing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I just like I said, sometimes I know we didn't have the technology that everybody has now, but I just think it was just more fun in those days.
Yeah. You're always connected nowadays, so it's just a different mindset. It's
Yeah, it is.
You're not thinking, hey, when I go home, I'm gonna go beat that Nintendo game, Metal Gear.
Nope.
You're thinking, I'm gonna go home and go, get on the Irongeek podcast.
Woo, look at you! Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, it's just all what your preference is. But anywho, also too, I was looking at a couple of things today related to Windows and Active Directory, and I just have a quick question. If you're doing, I've never done like a Hack the Box, the Rasta Labs, and everything else or whatnot, and I was just curious if you had any experience with that, or anybody out there on the chat session on the YouTube channel. Have you guys had any experience with the Rasta Labs, and is it legit? Or I was also looking at Pentester Academy.
So Pentesting Academy is cool in that they spin up a VM to try the exercise right after you read the information about, like, for instance, SQL injection.
Right.
It'll then spin up a machine that you don't have to remote into it. You don't have to VPN into it. It's all done on the web browser. They just give you a link. You click it, and it opens like a terminal window, and you'll have access to whatever other boxes are supposed to be on that network. It's Vivek did a good job on that. It's also got a lot of the material from SecurityTube. It's their premium content is all incorporated into it.
Gotcha.
And attackdefense.com you get an account on as well. So
okay.
I pay for it. It's like $40 a month, and when I have some extra time, I go and I futz around in the labs. I used to go on hackthebox.eu. I never got their premium stuff. I just stuck with the free boxes.
Yeah.
I only, to be honest, I only ever got 2 of their boxes. It's kind of pathetic to say that, but I mean, I didn't spend that much time on it.
Man. That's 2 more than what you had before. Not pathetic. Remember, we're all in races and not we're all in journeys and not races. So,
yeah.
Again, Also,
Vuln Hub is also good if you're looking for boxes to play with.
yeah, I use a lot. I use Bone Hub. I was just curious from an AD perspective, like Active Directory perspective.
Yeah, they don't have any Windows boxes, which
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah, you're gonna have to find somebody who's got some intentionally vulnerable Windows machines.
Yeah. Which I wound up building a lab. I was just curious if because I have a Windows 2019, little Windows 2019 lab where in a Windows 10 client or whatnot when I want to just test stuff out, as far as like Active Directory is concerned. Um, Also, too, speaking of that, so as you know, as of late, and I just want to bring this up while we're all live. As you know, as of late, and you see this on Twitter and other like social media platforms, hacker community. Um, I would like to see us get back to more information sharing related to hacking, as opposed to just sharing like politics and all other unnecessary stuff. In light of that, instead of again complaining about it, I decided to help change that. I actually went back, and I know it's a little old school, but I actually went back and created an IRC channel called Hacksaws Den, which it and I put in a topic. It's all 100% anything related to hacking, whether it's websites or if you have questions or anything that you want to post in there, you can that's related to hacking. And
Can I have ops?
what's that? It's all off a free note. I'm gonna paste it in the YouTube chat channel. So that's the let me find out. That's the if you guys have time or you even hang out on Freenode, you can definitely come in and check the channel out. I just created it last night, so it's just myself and then, of course, my other self right now posting stuff related to AD security, anything related to wireless, web, whatever it is that you have that's related to hacking or asking questions and want to talk about like InfoSec and hacking stuff. Definitely check that out on Freenode if you're still into IRC. Eventually, I'll probably just do something on Discord as well too. But I just wanted to put something up to kind of like help invoke that change and not just because as everybody knows, you go on the social media platforms, it's like you got to have a mute list to kind of drown out a lot of the noise to really see what you want to see. So instead of doing that, I just decided to go a little old school. I'll definitely do a Discord channel too, if anybody would like. Maybe on the Irongeek Discord. If Irongeek's
So,
cool.
I'm
what
fine with whatever, man.
Yeah.
so what a friend of mine did, I think, is pretty cool. Lucky 225, he put up. He's got the Mojave phone booth thing, and he's got an IRC channel, but it's also routed through Signal.
Uh-huh.
So you can go on Signal, and you'll be able to directly communicate with the IRC channel without having to.
Oh, I have Signal,
extra
so
steps.
that'd be cool.
He did like a Signal relay to the IRC channel.
Can you send that? Well, if he's cool with sending a link or whatever.
I'll ask him how the hell
Yeah.
he did that.
Yeah, if you gotta ask him, that would be cool. And yeah, and if he's looking for other people to join, that would be cool too. Yeah, because again, I just want to help change the narrative of going back to where we actually shared information that's actually useful as far as like our growth and education, as far as like the hacker community is concerned in general. So that's why I pretty much started that channel. And I'll go ahead and create one under the Irongeek Discord channel as well too, called Hacksaws Den. Somebody is saying AP is saying Ethernet Uber allies. Have you seen the new Facebook killer built by the Wikipedia guy? No, I haven't. But again, it's just something to think about.
Yeah. All right. So, we got any other chatter going on?
Not at the moment, but that's the main thing.
All right. So the next thing we've got is a data breach affects about 500 cops from Fairfax, Virginia. Now it's been a while since I've heard about the cops getting hacked. Last time, the last big hacking thing with people hacking the cops was, I think, LulzSec back in the day, where they would like hack all these different cops, these police officers, not officers, but the police websites, and they'd post all the data. This is obviously not LulzSec because they suck now. Um, but some hacker broke in and stole some data, I believe. Maybe I didn't read it yet, so let me check it out. So more than 500 employees of the Fairfax County Police Department, including the police chief, have been notified that their personal information may have been compromised by a potential data breach in a neighboring police department. So it wasn't hackers at all. Fairfax County Police Chief Colonel Edwin C. Rossler Jr. said Friday that the department is concerned after learning full names, date of birth, social security numbers of its police officers and other employees were among the data that was on a memory stick that contained the email inbox of the Purcellville Police Department chief, and it has disappeared. So we're talking a physical robbery here. Oh, he lost a very important thumb drive. That's a disaster. Go ahead.
No, I said it happens.
Yeah. Rossler said he has not received any reports from his officers that their data has been exploited, but worries about their financial and physical safety. Given the nature of the work, officers go to great lengths to protect their personal information. This is just devastating, Rossler said. I hope it doesn't create any harm. A data analysis firm working for Purcellville informed about 1,800 people late last week of a potential breach that occurred after a copy of Police Chief Cynthia McAllister's emails disappeared. It was created during an internal investigation in October 2017. So these are some old emails. The firm said the inbox contained medical information, bank account numbers, and other data that law enforcement officials, crime victims, and people who filed police reports from across the D.C. area. The former publisher of the Loudoun Tribute later claimed that town officials had access to the emails, although Purcellville officers say they are still trying to determine the veracity of that claim. Brian Reynolds of Leesburg was later convicted on fraud and weapons charges and previously had a criminal record. He is currently in prison, and his lawyer has not commented on the issue. I don't know what the hell that has to do with the rest of what we read. It's like, yeah, this guy is in jail also for some other charge that has nothing to do with the rest of this article. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. It's pretty interesting when the police lose their data on a thumb drive.
Oh yeah, and also I want to point out, and I'm going to post this in the chat channel. Speaking of interesting stuff, I just saw this post. I'm sorry I missed this. D-Link routers have added more buggy router models to the won't get fixed list. So I just posted the link in the chat, everyone. But
remember, DDWRT is out there. Replace your firmware.
Yeah, DDWRT, or if you just want to go 100% command line and hardcore, OpenWRT. But I must warn you, if you choose to use OpenWRT, please make sure you read the release notes and you make sure that your devices support it. Product numbers, ID numbers do matter when you're dealing with OpenWRT, because there's certain things, and I learned this the hard way and I'm going to show you the router. The TP Link. Okay? Now, this particular beauty is from 2015. It still works like a champ. I actually bought 2 more of the same model, but the only difference is this is actually running OpenWRT. But the problem was, and this is what I get for not paying attention to the model numbers and the product numbers, is that this version, which is model number C9, you can install OpenWRT on it, but the Broadcom drivers with that version of OpenWRT has issues. So it only works with, if you install it, if you flash it OpenWRT, wireless just stops working altogether, and all you have is Ethernet. So now you just turn this into a glorified firewall.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Sure. And I've learned this the hard way. So when you're dealing with OpenWRT, or even for that matter, DDRT, definitely please pay attention to the numbers because they do matter. And I went and bought a couple of more of these and actually flashed them with DDWRT, and that worked out perfect for me. And I haven't had an issue ever since then. And it's just your responsibility now is just to make sure that you're updated with the latest and greatest firmware, because without it, guess what? You will have problems and you don't want to be added to the list. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, don't throw away those D-Lake routers. Just go ahead and see if you can pop on some OpenWRT or DDRT. It's very important. Somebody said, what, Geek Squad Harlem Division? What the heck?
Ouch.
Okay. What does the Harlem Division do, sir?
All right, you missed me?
Yeah, somebody just said something called Geek Squad Harlem Division. I'm not from Harlem. I'm actually from Yonkers, New York.
You still live in Yonkers?
No, I live in Fairfax. Fairfax County, Virginia, sir.
Oh, so we were just talking about Fairfax, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So your police lost the thumb drive.
I didn't do the hack. I didn't do the thumb drive. Yeah.
You walk into the police department and just take a thumb drive?
No. It's usually hi Megabyte. It's usually that, it's usually quiet in Fairfax. I try not to leave Fairfax unless I really have to. It's not too far from DC though. I'm probably like 30 minutes from DC in general. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty quiet area. So to see that was pretty shocking. You just got to watch out for a lot of squirrels. Where I live at, it's a lot of wooded area. So you got to watch out for a lot of squirrels and deer. But that's okay. As long as I have cable, food, internet, the necessities, I'm happy. Oh, and video games. That's right. So, any questions out there in chat land and YouTube land that you would like answered? I'm live. Let's go. Any Windows questions? Any Linux questions? Mac questions? BSD questions? Well, nothing I can think of at the moment.
All right. So I guess we'll go back to the show notes.
Yes.
So, extensive personal health information exposed in Solara medical data breach. Everyone's leaking data nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Solara Medical Supplies reported on November 13th that its system was exposed for several months earlier this year after several employees fell for a phishing scam, giving access to their Office 365 accounts to an unauthorized person. Phishing. I love it. The illegal access was discovered on June 28th of 2019, and a further investigation found the data breach existed from April 2nd of 2019 to June 20th of 2018. That's backwards. Anyway, the company reported the compromised information included customer and employee first and last name and one or more of the following data elements. I love when they say this. It usually means all of them, but anyway, name, address, date of birth, social security number, employee identification number, medical information, health insurance information, financial information, credit card information, debit card information, driver's license, state ID, passport, password, PIN, login information, billings and claims information, and or Medicare ID or Medicaid ID.
Oh my gosh.
That's everything. That's the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah.
Okay, try this out, Jason. He said he's having trouble setting up a port knocker for SSH. I just sent the article in the that might help you out, Jason. Also, if you have any more trouble after this cast and whatnot, definitely you can hit me up on Twitter, BSD Bandit on Twitter. That's my handle. I'll just put it out there for you. Within nuke reach of DC, you're scaring me. AP, that's scary. Oh my goodness, AP, love you too, man. Woo! But yeah, continue on with the show notes. I'm sorry.
So, we're almost running out of show notes, but here we are. The last in the breach report. All right, who here likes playing Magic the Gathering?
I did back in the day. I haven't played it since probably the 90s.
I stopped playing it when it was like pay to play, essentially. It was the cost of the cards was just ridiculous. You could win, pay to win, rather. So, this article says it was Arena Magic Online. So, Wizards of the Coast is the company behind the popular trading card game Magic the Gathering. Revealed that it suffered a database breach and exposed the data of hundreds of thousands of MTG Arena and Magic the Gathering online players. According to an email sent to affected users, the security breach happened on November 14th after an internal database was inadvertently exposed. A database backup file was left on a public AWS storage bucket.
Wow.
But was not protected by a password. We believe this was an isolated incident related to a legacy database and is unrelated to our current systems. Based on the current investigation, we have no reason to believe that any malicious use has been made of the data. Sure, it hasn't. The database file contained the first and last name, email address, and password of 400,000. I can't do numbers. 452,634 players. I'm retarded today. Of MTG, Arena, and Magic Online, plus 470 email addresses linked to Wizards of the Coast employees. The passwords, however, were cryptographically secured, which makes them very hard but not impossible to decipher. So they probably hashed them and salted them, which would be awesome, right? No payment information or financial information was included. So that's good. No credit cards leaked. So all in all, not that bad.
Yeah.
The vulnerability of the week. This week is a newborn chick. What? Okay.
What the hell is that? Who put that in?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Vulnerable stuff. Hackers are now targeting councils and governments, threatening to leak citizen data.
Interesting.
So we already know this. If you work in the industry, you've been hearing about towns, local county governments getting hacked. Most of the time, it's ransomware. Now it seems there's a new plan of attack. So, in recent week, Johannesburg's computer networks were held for ransom by a hacker group called the Shadow Kill Hackers. This was the second time in 3 months a ransomware attack hit South Africa's largest city. This time, however, the hackers didn't pose the usual threat. Rather than denying the city access to its data, the standard blackmail in a ransomware attack, they threaten to publish it all online. This style of attack, known as leakware, allows hackers to target more victims of a single attack. In this case, the city's very citizens.
Oh.
The latest Johannesburg attack was the second leakware attack in this type ever recorded, and a similar attack could soon hit Australia. Although our current cyber attack defenses are more advanced than many countries, we could be taken by surprise. So I take it to an Australian website. That's why they said that.
Yeah.
Taken by surprise by a unique way leakware operates. During the Johannesburg attack, city employees received a computer message saying hackers had compromised all passwords and sensitive information, such as finance and personal population information. In exchange for not uploading the stolen data online, destroying it, and revealing how they executed the breach, the hackers demanded 4 Bitcoin, about $52,000. A small amount of money for such a vast city, they said. In this case, access to the data was not denied, but the threat of releasing the data online can put an enormous pressure on authorities to comply. I mean, even if they pay, what's stopping them from releasing it anyway? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
They risk releasing citizens' sensitive information, and in doing so, betray their trust. The city of Johannesburg decided not to pay the ransom and to restore the systems on its own. Yet we don't know whether the data was leaked online or not. The attack suggests cybercriminals will continue to experiment and innovate in a bid to defeat current prevention and defense measures against leakware attacks. So, would you trust the word of a cybercriminal?
Only the
Depends on
sensible one.
Yeah, only the good ones.
Well, actually, my saying in some cases they do what they say. If it's like a known piece of malware, and they're worried about other people not paying the ransom, if someone pays the ransom, they will indeed do it. Otherwise, the next few people won't actually pay the ransom. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a reputation game. They Google it. They see if anybody else has paid, and if they paid and didn't get their shit back, they're going to see it, and they're not going to pay it.
Pretty much. But yeah.
So historically, ransomware attacks denied users access to their data, systems, or services by locking them out of their computers, files, or servers. This is done through obtaining passwords and login details and changing them fraudulently through the process of phishing. It can also be done by encrypting the data and converting it to a format that makes it inaccessible to the original user. In such cases, criminals contact the victim and pressure them into paying a ransom in exchange for their data. The criminal's success depends on both the value of the data for the victim and the victim's inability to retrieve the data from elsewhere. Some cybercriminal groups have even developed complex online customer support assistance channels to help victims buy cryptocurrency or otherwise assist in the trouble of paying ransom. That's pretty
nice.
interesting. Yeah. Got our own customer support up here for this ransomware.
This is true.
Exactly.
So go ahead, I'm sorry.
So that's that article. I find it interesting. I mean, this whole leakware concept is fairly new to me. I can't see anybody paying somebody not to publish their stuff if they've got their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like they've got it. What's stopping them from doing it? If I give them money, they still could publish it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more a fan of encrypting everybody's files here in this case. If you want to get paid.
So I'm turn it up a little bit for a second. And I was having a discussion earlier today. And for any blue teamers out there, shout out to all the blue teamers, by the way. I'm currently one as well too. What value? Like, here's my question. So, how do we get more people attracted to blue teaming as well? Because right now, the narrative right now, everybody wants to be red team. Everybody wants to be a pen tester. But we're not getting more people interested in blue team. Seems that way. Now I could be wrong, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But doesn't it just seem that way, that everybody just wants to be only on one side? And even I'm not seeing many purple teams either at the moment. Do you think that's going to change in the future, or is just kind of like it's reached its peak?
I think the purple team concept will definitely come to fruition. I mean, more and more places are getting blue teams, and as they get blue teams, they're gonna want the blue teams are gonna push for red teams, and then they're gonna work together, and it's gonna be purple teams. You know, it. I've seen businesses that typically you wouldn't think of having their own cybersecurity. We reach out to them, and they don't want our services because they're doing it in house already. They've got their own blue team, and you wouldn't think some businesses as like small to medium businesses would have it, but they do because it's necessary nowadays. So, um, with with purple teaming, which is awesome, I see it becoming a more common thing, not going away.
So here's the thing. So even with and I think we need to get back to more hardening techniques, the basics. Because how can you blue team or red team anything and you don't understand the operating system that you're working on? You know, it's kind of hard to do that.
It seems like people who got into security, let's say 15 years ago,
Yeah.
they didn't go in and have like, I don't know, a security degree from college or whatever. They had system in work or programming work or something else. And then they leveraged that and learned about security. But now you have college classes and majors that are focused solely on security. But I've seen people do things like they're not familiar with Windows, so they're able to hack a box using an exploit, but don't remember where IIS keeps its files.
Right. And it's just like I don't know, and that's just like it seems like it's a huge gap there, and it's kind of like fading out. Seems like, you know, and what would be about what? Yes, AP. We're talking about going blue, and we're talking about all that. We're talking about all phases here. So we're talking about going blue, and not just red. Just going blue. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, each side needs each other. Each side needs each other to keep each other sharp and on their toes. Okay, AP said he's been blue for 10 years now. And he said it has to change. There's ESPs, rock stars. Okay. What else? What I'm saying is this: it's just more so. We need more policy writers. We need more security-focused people. But it's hard to do that when a lot of them don't have the basics. What we're trying to figure out is how do we get them to be able to learn the basics? Because think about it, there's a lot of pen testers that don't understand networking. How do you do that?
Mm-hmm. I don't have the answer to that.
We say all okay. So somebody says Stallman is right. Megabyte says Stallman is right. AP says all internal, no external. They get stale quickly. Most in-house. Okay, AP is chat up a storm. He said most in-house blue teams are not that great because it's all internal and there's no external. So there's no way of really challenging the blue team internally.
I can definitely see that. I mean, if it becomes almost incestuous if they're all working together all the time and they're only challenging each other. They're not getting any outside feedback.
Right. And it's kind of like the big fish in a little pond type scenario, and that's the worst scenario to be in. So it's just like I don't know. I was thinking just more like not just Linux basics, but also Windows basics. Because again, this day and age, we're more so with and networking basics. So I'd say more networking basics, more Windows basics, and more Linux basics before even remotely trying security. So, and again, these are notes that I'm taking for myself as well too, as part of the community, to look into help narrowing that gap, because I do see the gap, and I do think that it's something that we don't talk about anymore. You know, we used to, as Irongeek said, 10 to 15 years ago, we used to talk about it, and now it's just gone away where everybody's like, hey, let's go offensive security, everybody offensive, 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 offensive. And nothing wrong with offensive, because personally, I'm offensive AF. That's fine. But I do like blue team. Well, I like security as a whole. If that makes sense. I just like security as a whole. So, without the offensive, there is no defensive. Defensive makes offensive better as well. Both of them make each other better, I think, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah. I
And
mean, the blue team makes the red team better, and vice versa. So.
yeah. Okay. AP. Yeah. AP said we need good policy writers that has the basics. Um, honestly, and Megabyte says honestly, if he's seen a video about this before, since there's a lot of work needed, degrees and certs are rushing and encouraging it. I think quality won't happen until you either make it known that basics are needed. I agree. I agree. AP stated, and engaging an external blue team is needed. It also makes for layer 8 and 9 issues. Again, yeah, I agree. And where are the policy writers? Do we even know? And that's a good question. And out there in Twitter land, who's writing policies out there? If I go to Twitter right now, and this for the hacker community, because we want to be able to go to Twitter or whatever social media platform that you use. I personally use Twitter because most of the infosec is there. But if I go to Twitter right now and I needed help with policy writing, who could I go to? Do you guys know of anyone in general?
Not policy, no.
Yeah, and that's the thing. These are things to think about. These are things that that I think about. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to think or or if they should be interested or not. But I just think these are things that we should start looking at. I like the fact, like this year and of course last year, we could do it the same way we did with the mental health side of the house. When think about it, 3-4 years ago, nobody really talked about mental health and infosec.
Now we got the mental health hackers with Amanda Berlin making all that good stuff going on with
Awesome
them.
stuff.
We also have plenty of crazy people.
What's that?
We also have. Wait, we also have plenty of crazy people.
Oh. Wow.
Adrian's talking about me again.
I wouldn't label them as crazy. I would just say, you know what?
They're nuts.
Dang.
Because people can look at me and think that I'm nuts.
You are nuts.
I'm not nuts. I don't feel I'm nuts. I feel I'm not, I guess, the norm, maybe. But again, I just think that I just think that the same way we're approaching like mental health, I think we should approach that far as like good policy writers, more blue teamers. Shout out to Understudy 77. If you don't know who that is, check him out. He's understudy. I think understudy underscore 77. I'll post his name in the chat. His Twitter handle in the chat. Awesome blue teamer. He gets it. He also has a podcast called Detect underscore Pod. Definitely check it out.
He also designs good vape juices.
Yes.
So AP is saying in the chat that he is a policy writer. He
Oh.
writes policies and procedures. He also tests them, which is pretty cool. So why is all this shit broken, AP? Aren't you doing your job?
AP's only one person, but AP, I would definitely. Well, you know, I'll DM you sometime, man. We could definitely chat back and forth about how to learn about how do we go about learning how to get into policy writing. You know, if you're cool with that, that would be cool. Because I mean, it is something that's important. You know. Oh, he said AP says that he wrote a paper on policy
Writing.
for government.
Hopefully, he writes better in his papers than he does on film.
Is that now? I have a question. Is that paper public or is it private, classified? AP, just curious. Because again, this is great information that we need to know, and I think by us understanding it, because gone are the days of where you have a guy that's just a hacker that can't communicate with the client, that only sits in the corner and does technical stuff all day. Those days are gone. You have to be able to communicate this out somehow. And
I think there are a fair share of hackers who are still kind of antisocial and not good at talking with people.
right.
But it's changing. I mean, like you said, our field requires communication, and
Yes.
we need to be able to talk to people. And if we want to be able to get people to do what they need to be doing, we need to be able to talk to them in a way they understand.
Right, because if they don't understand it, then how can they fix it? You know, or if they have somebody on staff, and this place that I used to work at, I'm not going to name them because we're live, but they were awesome. With web app testing, if you found bugs, like specifically cross-site scripting or anything related to SQL injection or CSRF or whatever, you talked with the developers right away. You actually worked with the developer to help fix the problem, to provide a fix.
Oh, you're lying. That doesn't exist in reality.
Oh, yes, it does. The company I was at, yeah, we did that. That was huge. That was part of the job description, by the way, too. We had to work with the developers to help get a fix or get a solution together. And that helped me so much as far as being able to not only communicate with the developer and help provide a fix, but if I'm standing in a room full of clients or if I'm standing in front of a client, I can actually speak to what I understand and help them to understand on whatever level. I just always stick with the higher level first, and then because you never know who's in the room. So I always start off with higher level approach. And if there's one or two people that are in that want to get technical or get deeper, I usually save those questions to the end, and then we just have like a deep dive technical session. Because when geeks get technical, they can go down a rabbit hole and that can last for hours. So I always try to keep that at high. I always try to keep anything that I'm discussing at a higher level. That way, once the high level is finished, wait a minute, AP. These are the papers public. Do you have a link to the paper, or if you can provide us that, AP? I definitely would like to read it and really, like I said, expand knowledge. Again, this is this is stuff that I think is important, and you know, if we're gonna call ourselves security folks or whatever else, I just think that this too is an important piece. So, I mean, that's enough for me. Oh, thank you, AP. Okay, you have to engage all lawyers of the corporation to make effective policy and procedure. I agree. I agree. Security is not just one person's job; it's everybody's job.
No, security is your job. You do it. Only
It-
you, Charles. It's your job.
No, man.
You are security. That's it.
I am not security. I am just Charles. But I again, I just think that this is, like I said, this is. It's always good to talk about these things and not just, you know, let them fall by the wayside. You know, you can only talk about breaches but so long until someone has to stand up and help try to mitigate this stuff and try to fix this stuff.
I gotta say the sheer amount of breaches the past year or two
Yeah.
is so much more than the years before. It's like it's going
Mhm.
up and up, and every week we have enough breaches to actually put together a breach report every week. And there's like
Yeah.
it used to be there was the DFIR, not DFIR, the deep data the DBIR, like
Yeah.
the Verizon thing they put out like once a year, and it'd have like 8 or 9 good breaches in it. And now it's like every week we got breaches on breaches.
Exactly. Something that can change. But again, wow, okay.
All right, so now that we have some dead silence, I guess we'll have to get back into the show notes.
Have at it. Sorry for my soapbox again.
Not at all. I like your soapbox. People tune in to see your soapbox.
Oh. I I just, I just want to, help give back and contribute.
All right. So we're going to talk about Pure Locker ransomware now. All right. So this unusual new ransomware is going after servers. Well, of course, it's ransomware. It's going to go after servers. But what's different about it, right? So an unconventional form of ransomware is being deployed in targeted attacks against enterprise servers, and it appears to have links to some of the most notorious cybercriminal groups around. The previously undetected self-encrypting malware has been detailed and researched by cybersecurity analysts in Teaser and IBM X Force, who named it Pure Locker because it's written in the pure basic programming language. It is unusual for ransomware to be written in pure basic, and it provides benefits to attackers because sometimes security vendors struggle to generate reliable detection signatures for malicious software written in this language. Pure Basic is also transferable between Windows, Linux, and OS X, meaning attackers can more easily target different platforms. In this case, attacks are being launched against servers with the aim of holding them hostage and returning them only once ransom has been paid. Crypto ransomware attacks against servers often lead to demand for payments of hundreds of thousands of dollars in exchange for decrypting the systems, and can be accompanied by a threat to destroy the data if the ransom is not paid. Targeting servers means the attacks are trying to hit their victims where it really hurts, especially databases which store most of the critical information in an organization. There's currently no figure on the number of Pure Locker victims, but IBM X Force has confirmed the ransomware campaign is active, with the ransomware being offered as a service. Ransomware as a service, isn't that? That's such a weird thing to have ransomware as a service, where you can go and buy access to somebody's ransomware service. You go infect your own computers and get to use their tools and everything for it. It's an interesting concept, don't you think? Anybody
It's a
alive?
scary concept. It's interesting, but it's also scary at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, they don't even have to have the skill to write their own ransomware anymore. They can just use somebody else's.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's no different than back in the day. I mean, people were getting each other's code and saying it was theirs and modifying it, and
Hey, here's Sub 7. It's a program I wrote.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I helped contribute to Bear Share by using it, and
I contributed to an AOL hack program called Havoc.
and and eDonkey, and yeah.
Yeah. There was good stuff back then. Anyway, it is believed that rather than being offered to anyone who wants it, the service is offered as a bespoke tool, only available to cyber criminal operations that can afford to pay a significant sum in the first place. So kind of like those exploit kits that they sell. Um, it's probably rather expensive and somewhat exclusive due to the fact that there are relatively few actors using the specific malware as a service and the level of sophistication it's offering. The source code of PureLocker's ransomware offers clues to its exclusive nature, as it contains strings from the More Eggs backdoor malware. The malware is sold on the dark web by what researchers describe as veteran providers of malicious services. These tools have been used in some of the most prolific cybercriminal groups operating today, including the Cobalt Gang and Fin6, and the ransomware shares code with previous campaigns by these hacking gangs. It indicates that PureLocker is designed for criminals who know what they're doing and know how to hit a large organization where it hurts. It's currently uncertain how PureLocker is delivered to its victims. That's interesting. That'd be good to know, right? My guess is that they already are in the network and they already have owned everything, and they they do it from there. They don't like it's not like some drive-by attack where it's looking for a port that's open and hitting it and infecting stuff. Um, this seems to be like they're already in. They've got access. Now they're going to encrypt your shit. Um, so they think it may begin with phishing emails. So the ransomware attacks could begin the same way, with the final payload likely to be part of a multi-staged attack. So I wonder if that refers to like a stager, like with Metasploit, how you can do the stager that's two parts or one part, but the one part's big, and I'm not sure if that's what they're talking about, but either
Could
way,
be.
yeah.
It could be.
Um, those who become infected with PureLocker ransomware are presented with a ransom note telling the victim they need to contact an email address to negotiate a fee for decrypting the files. The user is also warned that they only have 7 days to pay the ransom, and that if they don't, the private key will be deleted, meaning the files can never be recovered. Researchers say the PureLocker campaign is still active, and it's important to ensure organizations have appropriate cybersecurity policies in place to protect against attacks. As with any malware threat, having good security infrastructure helps, but also educating employees about phishing is critical. Yep, that phishing education is a big thing nowadays. They have like Nobi4 does a whole thing where your company can buy a bunch of videos, and they're all about phishing education, like what not to click and how to tell this is not a good email. So it's becoming a big business. These companies that try and educate users, because like we were talking about, sometimes the IT people and the security guys don't have the skill set verbally to communicate things to their people, and as a result we need things like this where they go and get educated about it.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Agreed.
yeah. Next, we have Chrome and Firefox will now alert you about data breaches involving your accounts, which is good to know.
Yeah.
So they've launched a new feature, social tracking protection, as a privacy protections report, and the native data breach notification service for your saved logins. The company will begin offering the granular control over third-party tracking last October, um, which began offering granular control control over third-party tracking last October with enhanced tracking protection, and now added social media trackers in the mix. This will block all trackers associated with Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. That's what Brave does. Brave does that. Um, Among other notable updates, there's a new privacy protections report that acts as a handy dashboard for trackers Firefox has blocked, broken down by type. The browser's Lockwise password management tool has been integrated into Firefox Monitor to warn you if your saved login data has been compromised in a data breach. It's not Firefox alone. Earlier this month, Google baked its password checkup extension right into Google account controls with Chrome 78, which was also released yesterday. The company is officially bringing the feature into the browser. The option is not enabled by default, but you can turn it on by going to Chrome, Chrome flags, then password leak detection in the address bar. It is worth pointing out that Chrome and Firefox's breach notification tools will only work if you are syncing your stored password with the respective services. Still, the addition is a sign that browser makers are taking security more seriously and actively addressing the need for breach alerts, given the alarming frequency of data breaches. Like we were talking about, the amount of data breaches just keeps going up and up. So it's good to be notified when an email you've got saved is in a data breach, and you can go and change that and not use the same password everywhere. You should get something like one password, and have a randomly generated password for every single site and a really long, complex password for your wallet to get into your passwords. You should do shit like that. Thoughts, questions, feedback.
What is the meaning of life?
It's in the meaning of life is 42. Let's see what AP has to say. Blue teams say we failed to defend our company. Red teams say we failed to hack the company. Interesting. He's still talking. Well, I guess it's an old message. We're almost out of stuff to talk about. Who put in the Kim Creighton gets Charles Maxwood? Go for it.
I don't know if you've seen this particular news. Okay, there was a spat out a while back. Some lady said something about she's glad she didn't come in hacking now because the community seems to be so much more full of drama or politics or whatever. And a bunch of people started flaming her because of that. Unnecessary. She wasn't mentioning anybody by name. Then some guy came on defending him and started using harsh language. So this guy, the C-Max guy, came on and he did a video talking about wanting civility and so forth. And can we get all these people together and sit down in a podcast or something and discuss this? Well, this Kim Creighton woman went batshit crazy on him, and it causes a stir. And I also found old pictures of him visiting Trump Tower with a manga hat on. And eventually, a Linux Foundation kicked him out of a conference. From going to a conference.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about this earlier in the week. Yeah.
But the thing was, they never. I saw cited what he supposedly broke in the code of conduct. As far as I know, tone policing is not in that. First of all, tone policing is kind of a dumb thing to even use. Kim Creighton has these various tweets you can find out that are kind of racist towards white people.
The Linux Foundation is kind of going off the rails with the social justice warrior stuff lately. They're not who they used to be.
In the show notes, I have a link off to an article on it if anybody's curious about more. I don't know. Does BSD have that kind of drama?
It does. I don't. Not really. I mean, BSD is a. Hold on. Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry. BSD. The community is just different. I haven't seen that kind of drama personally, but I don't know. It could be. I haven't witnessed it personally. That's the thing. I mean, Linux. I'm not surprised. My daughter says hello, everybody.
Ah,
Yeah.
Has she actually started saying words yet? Like full words?
Yeah. She say a couple here and there.
Like what was her first word?
Uh-oh.
I'm hearing something that sound like daddy, but besides that,
No, she's saying dada, and then she'll say like blue moon. Okay, of course. So she says several different words.
yeah. So you don't think there's that level of drama as so much in BSD?
Yeah, with BSD, it's more so I don't know, like with BSD is a different group because here's the thing, I think the BSD community, we operate more off of the old principles, I guess, of like the Unix world. Because remember, back in the day, like especially in the Unix world, it was more so. It was a bunch of guys that you never saw unless you went to a Unix conference or Hope or 2600 meeting, you know? So a lot of us still live on IRC. A lot of us still like we'll peek our heads out once in a while, but think about it, a lot of the BSD users, they don't really I don't know if they're camera shy. They're just different, you know? I'm probably myself and probably someone else that actually is a BSD user, probably the most, I guess, like maybe outgoing, if you want to call it that.
Oh, the more old bearded dudes.
The old bearded dudes. Well, you see them at conferences mainly, you know. Or remember the what they were called lugs, the Linux user groups. But if you go to Linux user groups meeting, you're bound to meet a lot of the Unix beards, you know. And I mean, they have like a wealth of knowledge. It's people still on IRC that have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Unix. And
sorry, I'm trying to cancel what I have up. Somehow or another, Facebook decided to start playing shit.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But what I was saying is just like it's a lot of Unix guys that's out there that just use Unix for fun. I'm one of those guys. Like I said, does FreeBSD, do I use it in my daily job? No. But I just like the operating system. I just like Unix, period. So, you know, I'm still a big user of like sed, awk, of course, VI as my main editor. I am a minimalist, so I try to use the bare minimum as much as I can related to the operating system. Even the Windows environment, you know, like I said, for the longest for a while, just, you know, looking at PowerShell and other tools that I can use that are related to the Windows operating system. I always, even as a sysadmin, if you told me to build a print server, I would build a Linux or a Unix server, and that's all it would do with print. No extra libraries, nothing else. It was just print drivers. That was it. Everything else was turned off by default. You know, I believed in building boxes that way. And most Unix guys that, you know, in the old days, now we have VMs, they would have a box that did each function, you know, whether it was a 1U that was just a firewall or whether it was one that was just a DNS and DHCP server, you know? So it was just a combination of everything. So, I mean, I don't see it as much in, like I said, the Unix community has kind of died down a lot because everybody's a Linux person nowadays. And, you know, we kind of have our like small, like niche group. We're very heavy in the Freenode world on IRC. If you go to the BSD channels, free, open, and net. And net is even smaller than FreeBSD. And of course, the Solaris guys and gals more so probably either moved on to Linux or they're probably still using old Unixes and just doing kernel stuff, you know? I mean, it's kind of like the Freaker community. You know, you don't hear much from Freakers unless, like you said, if you go to Hope or 2600 meetings. So that's what the Unix guys have become. You know, and if I didn't have the name BSD Bandit, you wouldn't be able to tell if I did Unix or not anyway, unless we had a conversation. You know,
Undercover Unix man.
because I don't fit. I guess what you want to call it, the stereotype. I don't have a long gray beard. I don't have long hair. I'm loud and happy. That goes against everything Unix related. So yeah. And for God's sakes, I wear Yankees hats. So yeah.
Okay. Just kind of curious. I found that story and I just started reading through it. And I'm like, oh man, I can't believe Linux Foundation came to this.
I know. I mean, I was shocked because I'm like, wow, like, and I mean, I never had no issues with Stallman. I never I kind of got what he was trying to do, trying to push the foundation forward, and you know, he was all about hardcore open source. Again, like I looked at his journey. Eric S. Raymond, he was an awesome author. I don't know what he does now, but I have the Art of Unix Programming books, you know, and read some of his publications early in the early 2000s, you know. So it's just, I don't know, it's just a little sad. That's just no different than, I forgot the young lady's name who got upset. She was a kernel developer for Linux. And, you know, she was talking about some things that she went through with Linus himself. And it was a real big deal, you know, and she wound up just leaving the Linux community.
Did Linus ever do anything other than just be kind of offensive or just generally be an asshole to people? I mean, am I saying he was a bit short and prickish?
He likes
That's
to
about all
yell
I've
at
ever
people
heard
to
about
make
him.
feature requests.
I personally think that he's just very passionate about writing good code for the Linux kernel, but I think he says it in a way that's not becoming to people. And it makes
You mean he's a technical guy who's not good at speaking to regular people?
pretty much. But you know who else is like that for OpenBSD community? Theo. Theo's hardcore for the OpenBSD community. I mean, you know, I've seen some of his stuff on the mailing list. I'm like, holy crap. But again, he wants he wants quality. If you're going to be an OpenBSD developer, you know? So, I mean, again, it's just one of those things, you know? And then, I mean, nowadays, like, remember, and everything has changed now because you got to look at it this way. The landscape now is people just building their own projects now and just throwing them on GitHub. And if they get a following of people using them, then that's when hey, their project is born. And now they're keeping up with the latest updates and everything else. You know, it's not like before where, oh, let me pick this open source project and do that. It's now so, hey, I have this problem. Here's how I solved it with my Python script and my Ruby script. Oh, check this out. I added another feature today on GitHub. Oh, I have 100 people using my open source solution, and then they just keep up with it, and it becomes its own project. It morphs into something totally different, you know? That's one thing I would love to see from the blue team side of the house. Hardening tools and adding more features to it. Oh my gosh, AP, no. Not bonded submission domination, no. AP is wild. Yeah. But I would love to see that more from the blue team side of the house. Just, hey, develop a hardening script or something that's going to help lock down a Windows machine or a service or application. We got plenty of offensive tools out there. Where's the blue? Right? I mean, if I'm looking at this wrong, then, I mean, please tell me, you know? But that would be awesome to see. You know? I mean, we got plenty of OSINT tools out there. We got the OSINT covered. We got Shodan. We got different open source stuff that people are creating. And we got definitely offensive stuff that people are creating. And we definitely got software that people are creating to, like, you know, install on web servers or anything else. But what about locking it down? And what about hardening it? That's something that's missing. What about locking down a database? Besides the commercial software that everybody, looks at or whatever else. But what about the average open source person? So, I mean, these are things that, like I said, gaps of hopefully will be filled later on in the future. But it's always good to just, like I said, get it out in the forefront. So yeah, Stallman, I don't know, man. I don't know where that goes.
Yeah, but Stallman at least. Wait, which one was it? One of
What's
them they
that?
had something more on, but the C-Max guy, I really don't see what wrong he did.
I don't either, based on what I've seen. So I don't know if there's more information out there or whatever else. But based on what I've seen, I don't see what was wrong. So I'm in agreement with you on that one. I just don't. Okay.
Anybody else got anything to say? Any new topics for the cast?
No, I was just gonna say something real quick. AP said people develop their own hardened scripts. That's part of DevOps. It's part of DevOps. Okay, now I understand that, AP. It's just that I would love to see that on GitHub, like how like how the offensive side is. That's all. That would be interesting.
Crickets.
Yeah, that's it for me on that end.
Well then.
Well, in that case, I think almost the 3-hour mark, so it wasn't like it was,
Only 3 hours? What a short podcast, man. What are you doing these days? 3-hour podcast. Come on. What am I...
But Frank and everybody else who added stuff to the show notes, thank you much.
No problem, dude.
All right, guys, I think we're going to go offline, and of course, we'll leave the chat open for the people who are currently on the stream, but or who are conversing on the stream, that is. Everybody have a good night.
All right.
Night.
Later.
Later, Gator.